Welcome to the brand new Draymond Green Show YouTube channel. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our content. I know you're a WNBA basketball fan, obviously, with the being a coach in the WNBA and knowing some of the great talent that's in the WNBA. What do you make of this massive rise in the popularity of the WNBA? And I think we're starting to know more and more of the players, which I think is huge. But what do you make of this current rise in the popularity of the game?
I mean, I think it's amazing, man. I don't even want to say long overdue. Like everything is about timing. It's about different variables aligning in certain ways, and similar to the men's game, it takes specific players, not just great players, but specific players at specific times that create a level of interest and intrigue and greatness in their performance that brings people to the game in a way that, not because Dr. J was amazing. Mm-hmm. George Gervin was outstanding. Oscar Robertson was that dude. George Mikan was crazy. Havlicek, Bill Walton. We just lost Bill Walton. We just lost Jerry West. Like, those guys were as good as it gets. But the timing of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird coming into the league after playing in the NCAA title game, some of the underlying social things around a white player and a black player, like you're seeing a little bit of that, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. And so it brings forth this conversation around, like, there was a lot of discomfort in the 80s. And there was a lot of assumption that white people were fans of the Celtics and black people and minorities were fans of the Lakers. And there was this divide that was created as though it was black against white, when it really was Lakers fans against Celtics fans. And that's okay. Yes. And so I think the popularity of the game, it deserves it. We all need to continue to invest in it. I think as men, we have to continue to do more with our platforms, with our time, whatever we can do to not just talk about it, but like try to positively influence it and impact it so that our daughters and our nieces and all the little girls that are watching this generation of player can grow up with the same way we watched our greats before us and start to see themselves in those situations. So we have to prop this league up and make sure it continues to grow. Of course, Caitlin Clark deserves a ton of the credit because of who she is. But even when you turn the game on to watch her, you better watch what A'ja Wilson's doing.
Because she is killer. A'ja, by the way, on the way to being the GOAT for me.
Oh my gosh. Totally, you better watch what she's doing. You know, if you've watched in the past, I mean, Candace Parker just retired, but GOAT, right? Lisa Leslie, like, the history of this game is littered with great women basketball players. And so the rise will also bring a rise to the respect that they deserve, that they didn't get just 100%. Because they came a little earlier. You know what I mean? Yeah, but we got to show them love too. So I love it, man. I enjoyed my time in the W. I would do it again. It's a great league. And I'm so happy that there's going to be a team in the Bay Area now that the fans can support up there. And, that team will have my support too, for sure.
No, man, most definitely. I think the W and just watching the growth of it has been incredible. Because I think, for us, we've always appreciated their talent. Yeah. We've always appreciated what those women bring to the sport, to the game of basketball. And I think for them to start getting their due, and it's not where it's going to go. I think it'll continue to grow and grow and grow. And the reality is, I think there's so much discourse around the topic because I do think the women do themselves a disservice at times of comparing it to us. Mm-hmm. And the reason I think they do themselves a disservice is actually has nothing to do with the game of basketball, but everything to do with The W is now, I think, in year 27.
Yes.
And the NBA is in year now, maybe 77.
Yes.
Like, the difference in between 50 years for a company is drastic.
For sure.
It's like night and day. It's like General Motors and Tesla. Like, the difference in between the companies are drastic. Now, Tesla may be worth more now. I don't know the numbers or whatever. But point being, like, it's a drastic difference. And I think, when you start to play the comparison game, you're comparing, like, strictly from a time standpoint,
correct,
a baby to, like, a grandfather. Like, just strictly from a time standpoint, literally, like, 50 years is a long time. And that is the head start that the NBA has on the W.
Yeah.
And nonetheless, like I said, to see these ladies getting some of the credit that they deserve, the notoriety is coming and it's happening, and I think it's great. Two young stars, I think, definitely now with the Sparks. What's your thoughts on Rickea Jackson and Cameron Brink, the new young stars of the Sparks?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the turnover of the roster and going from Hall of Famers and all-time greats in Candace Parker, Nneka Ogwumike, Chelsea Gray, obviously becoming a Hall of Famer. I can't wait for her to get back on the court for Vegas. And so when you think about the way the Sparks have now gone through that process, we tried to stay away from the rebuild as long as we could.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have to go through it at some point once that window closes. And so I think Cameron Brink and Rickea Jackson are not just great players, but they have the size, the length, the versatility that, similar to what's happened in the men's game, you need that on the women's side too now. Like, you have to be able to defend multiple positions. You have to be able to play facing the basket. You have to be able to shoot the three. If you can operate in pick and roll, and both of those players can do those things. And from what I can tell, they're high character young women. So those are great pieces that the Sparks have added. The hard part is, as you know, when you've been winning championships and there's that legacy there's that feeling that it has to quickly get back to what it was. And instead of understanding, like, what you guys have, what great teams have, has been built over time, and you can't rush that always. And so hopefully, the ladies will get some time and get a few years together. But those two players specifically, you surround them with the right pieces, some good veteran pieces at the right time. I think there's a bright future in LA for the Sparks.
Before we get into it, this episode is brought to you in part by Hyper Ice. As you know, as a 12-year veteran myself, a lot of guys miss out on the recovery that it takes to play in the NBA. It's important that my body can bounce back as I get older. As I've told you all before, I am a super big fan of Hyper Ice, especially the Normatec boots, because I just feel like Superman when I come out of them. And as you all know, or may not know, I'm letting you know, the Normatec Elites are new. They're the best. They ditched all those extra hoses and the control units from the old model, so you can get on the go if you need the Normatec Elites. They are great. This one is fully self-contained with a small set of buttons to select your compression level. Super easy to travel with and to get set up after a hard workout, after a game, or if it's for you who's not an athlete, after a hard day of work, or walking around, or chasing the kids around. Because, by the way, as I get older, chasing these kids around is tough. And my son calls me old on the daily. So these are for you as well. On top of that, the Normatec Elite packs 4 hours of battery life, which is enough juice to get full leg compression cycles in before games, after games, on the plane, after work, before work, at work. How about that? at work. You saw me podcasting in the Norma Tech Elites, and I was at work. That is my day job right now as we have lost, and the finals are going on, and we're not playing. So, don't get me started on the tech inside this thing. The Hyper Ice has been pioneering recovery science for years. And the brand new Norma Tech Elite takes it to another dimension with 7 different compression levels to choose from. As I said before, it's not just for pro athletes, it is for you. Whoever is not a pro athlete, which most of you aren't pro athletes, and it is for you. So, shop all your warm-up and recovery needs at hyperice.com. Use code Draymond. For those of you who hate the name Draymond because you hate me, but you watch this podcast because you hate me, I got a gift for you. Use the code Draymond on hyperice.com for 15% off your order today. Exclusions may apply. 1,000%. And before we get out of here, last question. We have to talk about, like you mentioned her, player, one of the players who's brought all this notoriety, because I think Angel has definitely done her share in bringing that notoriety as well. But less about the notoriety and more about just the discourse around Caitlin Clark. Mm-hmm. You got like a lot of people kind of talking for her, and she's not that she's hiding, but these narratives just get pushed. What do you make around the discourse for Caitlin Clark?
Yeah, no, I think sometimes people say all publicity is good publicity, right? I don't completely agree with that. I do think there are times where the discourse doesn't need to be completely what it is. And so I think some of that has happened with Caitlin Clark, where we've kind of gotten away at times from appreciating who she is and what she is.
Yes.
Without us, it's almost like people are trying to find reasons to kind of dislike or almost like attach it to her, when in reality, she's literally never said any of the stuff that other people have to say. While also, I think those narratives and that discourse, which is why you see such strong reactions from current players in the W, is that it almost kind of starts to create this thing as though they aren't able to have a feeling or an opinion or an emotion around what's going on. Like they're supposed to just kind of shut up and be thankful for Caitlin's arrival to the league. Like she's saving your life. And while from a business perspective, yeah, we probably will be able to point to 2024 and her arrival as a launching pad, new media rights deal, a lot of the positive things that are going to come to the W from this moment. But if I'm Asia Wilson, if I'm Nneka Ogwumike, if I'm Diana Taurasi, if I'm one of the all-time greats, you can't tell me that just this one young lady alone should get all of the credit for, I should be thankful to her that I don't have to take a commercial flight anymore, as though all the work I've done in this league over the last 6, 7, 12, 15 years doesn't count. That's what it sounds like when we try to make it seem like they're hating or jealous per se. And competitive, maybe. Yeah. Look, bro, I was, and still am, I couldn't hold a freaking candle to Michael Jordan. But even when I was young and played in the league, I refused to wear Air Jordans. Just generationally, growing up, just from a competitive standpoint, it was different. The same way a lot of older guys complain about how respectful and how you guys show each other love and give each other flowers. Just because we didn't do that doesn't mean it's wrong.
That part.
Because we should have probably been doing more of that as men to show love and respect. But still, I want to kick you when we get out there on the court.
Every single time.
And so I think the discourse has gotten off track at times. Yeah. My hope is that at some point it'll quiet down around some of the negative things that have nothing to do with basketball. And we'll really start to like with Wemby, for example, all of that was about basketball.
Everything.
He's a generational talent. We knew it.
Yeah.
We saw it. He struggled at times. We were okay with it because he's a rookie. He's not on a great team. He's coached by a great coach, but it's not their time to be great right now. But we allowed him to go through his ups and downs. We followed his journey, and we have to respect her journey the same way, regardless of her color. Allow her to go through her struggles. Don't try to make it out to be a bunch of other stuff, but don't also try to make it seem like the ladies that's been in the W and been building this thing and brick by brick by brick for the last 27 years, just like they don't count all of a sudden because she's here, even if she's great. So I know that was a long answer, bro, but I get passionate about it, you know, because we got to protect our women, bro. Like, we just can't allow people to just kind of make it seem like it's whatever and it's just jealousy and envy, when in reality, you don't think they want what's best for the league, which she is. She is great for the league, and the ladies understand that too. But, like, don't make it seem like I'm nobody, you know, in the way that
like I owe her something.
Yeah, other than competitive respect. I mean, that was literally the Jordan rules, right? Since I brought up Michael Jordan, the Detroit Pistons literally did the same thing to Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Which elevated his level of play to what we now know as the GOAT.
The GOAT.
He had not won championships before that.
Yeah.
He started taking notes, bigger, stronger, understand what they're trying to do, the type of system I need to play in, the way I need to be able to move without the ball, all of that. So anyway, man, I could go forever talking hoops on the men's and women's side. I love it, bro.
I love that answer too, because I think, like you said, Caitlin's been great, but I've heard no one say Caitlin got the opportunity to be this because of all the sweat of these women that came before her. You know, so like it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Like, Caitlin has 1,000% brought an uptick in popularity to the league, which is great. The league is not where it's at today to where Caitlin can bring that uptick if these women, back to Cheryl Swoops and Cynthia Coopers and Lisa Leslie's, like Rebecca Lobos, like, I mean, you go down the list, like, on to DT, Sue, Candace Parker,
Sue
like
Bird, all that,
Maya,
Lindsay Whalen,
Sylvia Fowles, Simone Augustus, right? Like, without their work, then it also doesn't get to this point either. So I'm happy for what she's brought to the league. I'm happy to see them competing the way they competing. Like, keep competing like that, because at the end of the day, that's what people are paying to see. They're not paying to see a soft game, a weak game. They're paying to see competitive basketball. So keep competing that way. I absolutely love it.
We're this close to crowning an NBA champion. I like the Celtics, by the way, in 6. Jaylen Brown's going to be my MVP, and I love the Celtics in game 1. But sign up, 90 seconds. Put in the code Colin, COLIN. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you're a new customer, bet $5. That's it. Just bet $5, and you'll get $150 instantly in bonus bets. The code Colin, COLIN, shows them that you're a new customer to get $150 in bonus bets only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. I'm leaning Celtics in 6, baby.